What if I told you that by the end of this video, you are going to learn how to create your reality so effectively that you're actually going to get years of your life back? It's almost like you're going to time travel and quantum leap so much by applying what we cover today that you're basically saving time or getting time back that may have been wasted before. And so we're going to go over a lot of different ideas right now. And I want you to keep in mind this idea that a lot of people don't really think about, but is always true no matter where you are currently with where you're at. And that is the idea that a new future is always available. A lot of people look at their past and believe that predicts their future, and it doesn't. At any given moment, in any moment of time, you can decide to select a new future that you start building for yourself. And so no matter how down and out you believe you are, or if you've already achieved quite a bit, but you're struggling to get to that next level, a new future is always available. We need only select it. And in this video, we'll go over how to do this, where you can essentially select the future that you want to make your present, how to draw that to you, and how to be inspired to actually take the actions that will bring about this future that's somewhere out there that already exists, but to draw it to you now in the present. So here's the first concept we must cover for you to understand in order to do this. And it's this right here. Most people are operating from a paradigm that will always cause you to waste time and never get to where you want to be. Right? Be on the end here. This is most people and how they are operating in their lives. It's called the have, do, be paradigm, which you can just think of as reality. So they're operating from this level of reality. Or an alternative one is do, have, be. But this is the one that most people are operating from, and then some people are operating from this. Now this one is an upgrade from this first one. This is what's called by me as well, if you've ever heard me talk about this. This one is known as to me, and we'll explain what this means. But the have-do paradigm, or have-do-be paradigm, essentially says and states that you believe you have to have something first. When you have whatever it is you believe you need to have, then you will be able to do certain things. And once you have done those things because you have the thing you think you need, you will finally be whatever you believe those things will give you. For example, some people believe I need to have money before I could ever be considered abundant or rich or whatever else it is. I can't start doing anything or have anything or be any way until I start having that thing first. And what ends up happening when we're in this have, do, be state, or coming from that paradigm, is again, we're in this to me state, which you can think of as the victim consciousness, or victim mode, we'll say. The trouble when you're in this victim mode is you're always waiting for something to happen. You expect a savior to come and just bring you good tidings. You're expecting life to just give you a shot, to give you a chance. And yet it is us who creates our own opportunities. We are creators. No one is coming to create for you because you are a creator, and no one can take control of your creation. There are certainly people who can inspire you, and on the other end of the coin, people who can hijack your creation, which is what a lot of people find themselves in. And when you're in victim mode, you are very open to hijacking. This is when people are more susceptible to programming, more susceptible to negative programming, more susceptible to thinking they need something outside of themselves to fix them. But yet you're an infinite creator. You don't need any fixing. You just need to get back to understanding you are a creator. And we will go over basically what we should be operating from. There's a different formula than this that's going to help you do this. Again, when you're doing it in this way, you will always struggle. You will be in victim mode. You will be like life happens to me, to poor old me. I'm just on the ocean and it's throwing me about. I have no direction in my life. Now, the upgraded version, not the one we're going to be operating from or I'm going to recommend, but a better version is the do, have, be. In this version, someone believes they need to go do something, right? I have to do in order to then have something. So I got to put in a lot of work. I got to hustle. I got to grind. If I do that, I will have certain things. And then when I have those certain things, I will finally be whatever it is. Typically, it's an emotion. So like happy or fulfilled or in bliss or peace or grateful or whatever kind of emotions you want to be in more often. Recognizing that this state of beingness is usually pointing at an emotion, right? So you want to be happy. You want to be fulfilled. You want to be maybe useful, which is not really an emotion, but still kind of a level of beingness. And so in this one, we have by me, which is life happens by me. It is a massive upgrade to me because in by me, you're taking action. You're taking some responsibility, and there is a huge leap in consciousness from one to the other. And so if you're in to me, and then you upgrade to by me, a lot more is going to start happening in your life. You will start having, but you're going to find eventually that it's very hollow. Why is this? Because you think you have to continually earn love, peace, joy, happiness. That it's something you have to earn more money to achieve or have the relationship before you achieve or whatever else it is. And so you're always spinning your wheel. You're on the continual hamster wheel of success, running the race over and over again to get a momentary moment of bliss when you achieve something, only to be right back on the wheel. And so will you have things if you really hustle and grind? Absolutely. But they will come with problems. It'll usually come with imbalances, for example, in health and relationships. You might earn a lot of money, but find it to be very hollow. You might achieve some goals, but find that it isn't what you expected, and in fact, you feel or are being worse. The key with this is you don't actually end up having the beingness you started this whole thing for in the first place. And it's the same one with the have-do be. By doing the have-do be, you never get to be what it is you actually want to be. Most people in this are in emotions like guilt and shame and fear and apathy. They're in desire maybe, but desire from kind of a pedestalization level. And so you never actually get to experience the being. And it's the same with the upgraded but still flawed modality or formula of do, have, be. Yes, you will now start to have things which in this one typically most people will not. In to me, you typically have very little. Again, they're just complaining and moaning about everything. No energy or action is going towards anything, and so nothing can be produced. There's no energy being produced in their life. They're just kind of being swayed by the energy of other people's lives or other things. And so they never really end up having too much for the most part, or if they do, and they find themselves in to me, they will find very quickly they will stop having, and those things will be taken away. This is why, for example, you hear someone wins the lottery, but they were in to me when they won it, and let's just say they happened to win it. Almost all of them end up losing all of that money. Because unless they upgrade this paradigm, they will continue to just be in that mindset and mental state that created the suffering, the guilt, the shame, and therefore the money will be taken away, the situations. And we see this again with people who win the lottery, who are in guilt and shame or in to me victim mode emotions. If that doesn't get upgraded, eventually all of those things that are there will be taken away. And so in this, we upgrade to having but lacking of being. Most people who do this end up are even more miserable because they thought, oh, once I earn the money, once I have the relationship, etc., then I'll be happy. Finally, I can rest. I can do this. I can do the things I want to do. And then they find, oh no, that's not true. And they're spinning their wheels and they're having to hustle and grind to maintain a lifestyle and they feel burnt out and they're just going crazy. So obviously, this is not ideal either. Now, I'm not going to leave you hanging. Let's go over what we want to do, the thing that's going to save you years. Most people just are so stressed and waste so many years doing this. And this is what we want instead. A simple flipping of the formula called the be, do, have. This is where we want to access the emotional state and the identity of whatever it is you want to be, and then start taking action from that place. And when you do this, you will naturally start to have the natural byproduct or outcome of taking those actions. But understand that not all actions, even if they look the same, are the same. What level of beingness are you taking the actions from? For example, if someone is taking actions from a place of alignment and love and gratitude, and I have enough, I'm prosperous, that is going to have a very different energetic impact on their life, which also means a physical impact, than someone who's coming from lack or guilt or shame, or again, is forcing through. That's why the beingness never occurs, because those same emotions where they're forcing through are reproduced in their life. So suffering and struggle, and I have to, earn my spot in the sunlight and whatever else. That's what continues to proliferate or grow in their life. From this, we start from the state first. We prioritize the state, the feeling. Because let's be honest, whatever this is for people is a feeling. And so everything they think they're doing to acquire that feeling or to acquire that beingness is a feeling in the first place. And yet we can access or learn to access the feeling first. And by accessing the feeling or the range of feelings that you actually want to be in, you will be inspired to do. However, the actions you now take are not just random. They're not just, I'm going to throw a million things against the wall and hope something sticks. They are now calibrated actions. Calibrated meaning they are the right actions that are the best next moves for you, particularly no matter who you are and whatever journey you're on, if you're following this, the calibrated actions that will allow you to have whatever it is you want. And so let's say you're drawn to expanding, 2xing, 3xing, 4xing your finances, your business, whatever it is. When we line you up like this, we get you into the emotions you believe you would feel when that thing is here, but we do it now. What's going to happen if we help you to sustain that state, natural levels of doing this will start coming up for you. And let me make something clear, because a lot of people believe, well, if I don't just start doing from, this fear place or whatever, then I'll never do anything. When you're lined up properly and you connect to the level of beingness that truly aligns to you, you won't be able to help moving. You will be so inspired and compelled to move, you won't be able to sit still. This is not laziness. This is not sit on the couch and things just magically come in. Sure, there'll be moments when you're sitting and meditating and doing the inner work and ideas come in, but then you actionize those ideas. These ideas are coming from a higher level of consciousness or beingness. These ideas are now coming from the frequency of fulfillment, happiness, love, joy, and bliss first. They are not actions that are trying to get you to feel love, joy, and bliss, yet those actions emanating or being inspired usually from fear or apathy or guilt or shame. And if you take actions from that place, you're never going to get whatever plus whatever equals bliss, right? You will get whatever plus whatever equals the level of emotional state you took those actions in, typically. So we want to be, do, have first. First feeling, the state, calibrated actions will then make themselves known to you. You will feel good. They might even be similar actions, but now that they're inspired actions, they will feel way different than the actions you may have been taking before that. And then eventually, after enough time of doing this, of building up that energy, and it doesn't need to take long. In fact, I'll give you a number here. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks of doing this consistently for dramatic changes to take place in the physical. Again, you have to do it consistently, and ideally you want to make this your normal paradigm, but 6 to 8 weeks of what's called concentrated particle flow, meaning your energy is focused in a particular direction. The higher your emotion, by the way, the higher your energy, which is why we start from beingness. And then you're doing things from that energy, you will have the physical equivalents of that energy. And again, this is not just things I'm saying. We've had clients do this through my advanced coaching and also my membership group, Mold Your Reality, and we'll pop some of those on screen. In fact, we just had a client share the other day that they went from $500 in the red in their business to now making $33,000 a month consistently on average, not just 1 month, on average within a short matter of months. So they went from the red, not knowing what to do, joined up, boom, $33,000 a month because we got them to do this. Be, do, have. Okay, so moving on, we need to talk about something that is going to help you do this. Because it's simple to say, oh, be, do, have. Well, that's very easy. That's 3 words. How do I go about doing that? Well, the first thing we need to do to help you to access be, do, have in a way that feels congruent and aligned to you is we have to develop what's known, and you probably have heard me say this, a DCA. Now, don't get confused by that. This just means definite chief aim. You can think of it like having a main singular focus. Now, why is it important to have a DCA and main singular focus? You see, a lot of people are focusing on way too many things. And when it comes to being able to manifest quickly and create your reality very quickly, again, like that client I showed you, and I have so many more of those testimonials I've shared in other videos, and there's a page down there you can look at that will show you more of them. The reason we're able to help them get results in mere weeks sometimes, or at least a few months, is because we help them develop a very aligned DCA. If you have 5 seeds you're trying to plant in the ground, but only enough water to nurture one, and you spread that water between all 5 seeds, well, then you're not going to be able to manifest what it is you want to manifest. But if you have 1 seed and you are putting all of your focus on it, you are watering that seed with that energy, it's going to grow quickly. Now, a lot of people believe that when they do this, oh, I'm going to be missing out. Everyone believes this when they first start. But I promise you, you're not missing out. In fact, you are missing out if you're not doing this. If you're trying to nurture 5, 10, 15 seeds, some people have 0 seeds, and that's just as bad. But people are trying to water 15 DCAs essentially, going nowhere. Another great example is, say you have a ship that's going to a destination, and that destination is your DCA. Well, if you have even 2 DCAs, the ship never knows where to go, because it starts going this way, then, oh no, now this DCA, and let's say you have more, oh, now this DCA, and basically you're just spinning in circles, not making much progress towards any. Eventually, one of them has to take priority. And so we need to get you lined up with a DCA, get something focused in here, and most importantly, have this DCA hit what's called the sweet spot. This is a term from Napoleon Hill, popularized. DCA actually is as well. And the sweet spot is crucial to have to make this work. Because I'll start working with some people and they'll be like, well, I have a DCA, I have an aim, and I'm not really making much progress to it. And I'll mention, well, do you have a sweet spot? And I go, no, I don't know what that is. It's crucial to have, because without a sweet spot, you can think of it like you have a vehicle or a plane that's ready to go, or a ship, but there's no gas in the ship, or there's no gas in the plane, so it can't go anywhere. Maybe you've pointed the plane in the right direction, so if it was to take off, you would get to your goal, but there's no fuel. And that's where the sweet spot comes in. And when you have this sweet spot and DCA set up, which I'm going to give you some ideas on how to do, this is when you start to more easily be able to operate from be, do, have, because it becomes more clear what you need to be, what you need to vibrate out, what you need to do energetically, what identity you need to move into and kind of wear in order for this DCA to come about. It makes it clear, it gives you clarity. Okay, if this is my DCA and it hits the sweet spot, what are the emotions that come along with that DCA? What are the emotions I need to feel? What is the scene I need to picture as if it's happening right now? And so what the sweet spot is your mind plus your heart, and I'll explain what this means, has to be bought in. Now, the mind is, as it seems, is the logical brain, and the heart is the feeling. And we'll say excitement because that's what you want. So the sweet spot is the combination of being excited about whatever this goal is, but logically you believe that you can do it. And so what I should really put here is belief. Now, most people will set this DCA at first uninstructed in one of 2 ways. They'll either go overexcited, but then the mind rejects the idea because it feels too unrealistic. And so you're trying to plant that seed, or you're trying to shoot a laser beam in a certain direction, but the mind then comes in and doubts. And it tells you all of these beliefs that you can't do it and you're not going to get there. And basically you've cut off the water flow to the seed. You've turned off the laser beam. No energy is now getting to it. Again, the fuel in the plane or the ship is now gone. And it's just suspended or not taken off or just suspended at sea. So we use the ship analogy, so it's not like the plane's falling out. But you're suspended at sea now with no gas, can't move. The sea will now take you wherever the sea's going. Again, kind of like a to me attitude. And so if we go overexcited and the mind comes in and will absolutely go into a to me way of thinking, you're going to be stuck. You're never going to make progress, right? However, the other way is people become too logical, too small. And when you get too small, the excitement goes down and out the window. And so, again, you're pointing the ship in the right direction. That makes sense, but there's no fuel in the tank. When we have the excitement, we basically spin our wheels. And when we have the logic, or we have the excitement and nothing else, we spin our wheels. But when we have the logic and nothing else, we can't get going. So we need a blend of these two. And so whatever your goal is has to satisfy the heart and the mind. And so it needs to be exciting, but something 100% your mind believes that you can achieve. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and bring itself to believe, it can achieve. If, however, you don't believe you can do it, you will not. And the goal isn't then to manufacture more belief or force it. By hitting DCAs, you will gain more belief. So instead of trying to manufacture and trick yourself into believing, no, I do believe this. Instead, we set a DCA that satisfies this sweet spot. Once you hit a DCA, you create a new one. We'll call it DCA plus. But once you get to this DCA, your belief goes up. Way up. A lot of people want to run before they can crawl when it comes to this. And so they will set an initial DCA, like I want to make $20,000 a month, I want to make 50,000. Maybe they're at 10 and they want to make 50. And that's too far out of reach to the point where they'll believe it. Or maybe you're just starting out and you just want to, make, like you haven't even made 1,000 yet, but you want to make 10. This is not going to satisfy the sweet spot because you're going to be sabotaging yourself the whole way through. And so yes, you set a smaller one that you can still get excited about. It has to be small enough that you can fully believe it, but big enough that you can get excited. And once you've done that and you have that focus, accessing Be Do Have will be a lot easier. When you just look at this DCA, you will get excited. When you look at this thing and you notice you're taking steps and moving faster towards it, you get more excited. You lock into that beingness you need to be in. You're able to feel good now. You're seeing progress. You're seeing the steps being taken. Most people set an impossible goal and then procrastinate because they don't believe they can do it. Again, there's no movement, there's stagnation. Again, you're either growing or you're dying. And so with this, it creates movement. It creates momentum. And here's the thing with movement or momentum, especially energetically, it's not just 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. Again, after you hit this first DCA, which you know you're going to hit, but you're excited about, and you upgrade to a new DCA, you're not going to just go +1 with your next DCA. Your belief will most likely exponentially improve and increase once you have a win under your belt. Your ability in yourself, your ability to create will go up exponentially. And then once you hit this one and you go to the next one, so we'll go DCA plus, you're going to notice that you are so far ahead of that original DCA if you follow this momentum cycle, if you follow this with momentum. And I can give you an example of this. When I first started this for a financial one many years ago, I created a sweet spot and a financial amount that wasn't much more than I was making at the time, but it was exciting because I felt it out. I'm like, that's too much. I won't believe it. I won't believe this. There's doubts coming up. You can also try some of these on and see throughout each day, are there doubts coming up? If there are, we need to lower it, maintain the excitement. So I selected one. I think it was like $500 or $1,000 more. Not a crazy amount, but I knew it hit the sweet spot. Because of that, I hit the goal pretty quickly. Then when I made a new DCA, I doubled it. And that was well within my belief. And I went, yeah, I can absolutely believe I can do that. Doubled it. I hit it even quicker than the original. And then when I went to make a new one, I think I doubled it again or even 3x'd it. And I think I hit that almost in the same amount of time. And so you can see how that scales and can go up very quickly. I was making then $10,000 a month easily. I went from that to like 20. Like it was very simple because that momentum was happening. I had wins under my belt. My belief was growing with each win. And that momentum that got me to 10K, double is now 20K. In the same way from 500, let's say more to 1,000 was double. Yet you can see how that expands quickly to where it's a significant amount. And so if you follow this process, you will start hitting your goals a lot faster alongside the Be Do Have paradigm, but we're not done yet. There's a couple other things we need to go over. And so this next part is crucial and where a lot of people get tripped up. And that is the how. I'm going to say something or write something out that might seem very counterintuitive. And this is because, again, you're no longer, when you're doing this, setting goals with only your mind in mind. You're not setting goals in a linear perspective. It's non-linear. And so the how I'll explain this, is none of your business. You are trying to achieve something that you haven't before. You are trying to essentially draw something from the unknown into your known. And so if this is your known and everything else, and we'll just say, this is your known, and everything else is your unknown. So because you don't know what you don't know, you have certain things you know, which is very limited, and everything else is the unknown. When we try and control the how, we are restricted to this tiny little circle, tiny little area of the things we know. But when we let go of the how, we open ourselves to the unknown, which allows all of these different things to now come in that we are unaware of at this current time to help us achieve our goal. And just so you know, the unknown is essentially infinite. And so we can either put our focus on what we already know and try and build things with things that are already in our life and bricks we already have, and there's times to do that. But when it comes to the bigger picture stuff, when it comes to our goals, we want to access the unknown that has unlimited solutions and potentials to bring your goal about in ways you cannot think of or would ever be able to conceptualize. Sometimes they're very elegant, sometimes it's things you would never be able to piece together. And so for this all to work, we need to let go of the how. But if we let go of the how, then what is it we're meant to do? What's our side in this? Well, figure out the how is not. That's the first thing. But let's go back to what is. The first thing is getting yourself into a be, do, have. Again, we're going to keep this so simple. Your job is to be in the beingness and the feeling. Your job also is to intentionally, as much as you can, feel good. Because what happens when you feel good? You're in the beingness. If you think you can't feel good until you do or have something, you're going to be waiting a very long time. Now, don't get this twisted. Can you do things that help you feel good? Absolutely. So let's say you take an ice bath and feel very good. Don't stop yourself from doing that. Let's say you sing and that helps you feel good. You go for a walk. That's not what we're getting at here. What we are saying is in the big picture, hustling and grinding, we don't need to do in order to feel good, right? That's not what we're saying. However, you can take actions that you know will help you feel better. Because of the principle of correspondence, if you're aware of that, if you do something in the physical, it has correspondence in the emotional and in the mental. Also in the mental, if you think of something, for example, that feels good or is a happy memory, you'll start feeling good. Your body will perk up. There'll be a physical correspondence, right? If you have a visualization of you playing a sport or something, you might notice your body start to change. You get that adrenaline rush, whatever else it is. And I won't mention the other things you could think of that could change you chemically and physically, right? So see, they're all in correspondence. So our goal, essentially, is we want to feel good as often as we can. Now, doesn't mean you will all the time, but that's just the aim. Now, if you're feeling bad, the name of the game, simple, is recovery. Don't worry about it. If you're feeling not so good, recover. That's it. You fall off the horse, you don't start slamming your fist against the ground or whatever else. You just go, okay, I fell off, I'm gonna get back on. So if you catch yourself feeling bad, maybe you catch yourself a lot. The name of the game is how quickly can you get back on the horse. The name of the game isn't feel bad because you fell off the horse. Then we're not playing feel good now. So understand that's the aim, but don't make it this perfectionism loop where you think you have to be that way always and then beat yourself up when you're not. That is the aim because it hits the beingness. When you're feeling good most of the time, it will start to dictate what you do. Again, from beingness. So we get in that state, so you will feel inspired. You will feel compelled to do certain things. And again, don't think it's going to be this magical thing. It might be very different, but it might also be the same. But however, the energy now is different. It's now in this moment of time to do this thing. So don't hyper-analyze it. Go off of the feeling when you're in that level of beingness on what you are to do. And again, don't worry about it being linear. The how, which means linear, is none of your business. Again, how is always because we want to operate in a linear fashion, A plus B plus C. It's very analytical. But if we can stop diving into the analysis of it and hook into the unknown through that beingness, because beingness, those emotions connect to the unknown and draw in, you will naturally start being drawn to doing things. One thing I will warn you about is don't worry if it seems unrelated to your DCA. Everything is related. I once had a client who went on a bicycle ride just as an inspired thing and it ended up at like a coffee shop randomly and met someone who I think ended up helping her business massively, right? Now, when she went on that bike ride, she could have went, well, how's this going to help my DCA? It's like, okay, well, I feel like I need to go do this. I'm compelled to do this. In the book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, which is a fantastic book, they talk about hunches. And the author, Florence Scovel Shinn, I think, mentions how there was someone who followed this, the Be Do Have, essentially, called it a different name, but Be Do Have, got a hunch to go to a part of town they never went to, but went to anyway, and ended up running into someone randomly who was like, oh, I was just thinking about you. We have a job opening for you, and it ended up being like the perfect job he wanted. And that was his intention. He'd been trying to hustle and grind and control the how on getting a job, and it wasn't working. Finally gave in to the Be Do Have and started doing that. Came in almost immediately in this non-linear way. The unknown coming into the known. Not the known trying to recreate or create an unknown. It's never going to happen. So we have Be Do Have, feel good, connect to these emotions. Again, of fulfillment and happiness. How are you going to feel when the DCA is here? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel elated? Does it feel just you're appreciative, grateful? Feel those things now. Find ways to feel those things now. Have a list of things you know you can do or think about or whatever to feel good now. In my membership, Mold Your Reality down below, and in my advanced coaching, we go over many more things on how to do this. But ultimately, just keep doing and engaging in things you know help you feel good. Create a list of things you know help you do that. For example, I'm in nature here a lot. I go for walks in nature. I listen to certain music that helps me feel good. I read certain books. I watch certain videos. I play certain sports. Ice bath is one I mentioned because that's one I like to do. It could be simple things. Singing and dancing is another good one to feel good now in the moment and shift your state of being. But the game is feel good now. And when you're in that place and your DCA is lined up, here's what begins to happen. You're feeling good. The doing that comes from that will be aligned with your DCA. Meaning, when you're feeling good and you've chosen a DCA that hits the sweet spot, the doingness that comes from feeling good will be direct actions that help usually contribute to your DCA from the unknown in the ways you do not know about. But again, we let go of the how and the linear thinking. You do not have to worry about how things unfold. You allow the how to come to you. You don't try and manufacture the how from the known that doesn't even know how to do it. It's guessing, or it's looking at how someone else did it and when that might be the way. But if it's not connecting to you, it isn't the way for you. There's a billion strategies. That one's probably not for you because there's no deeper connection to it. But there will be a deeper connection to something. So we need to let go of the how. We need to set that DCA, which will help us know where to be, do, have. Feeling good will always lead to that. Because when you feel good, as Abraham Hicks would say, and asking it is given, that is an indicator that you are on path. It is an indicator you are moving towards the DCA. We have been taught that you have to suffer to achieve your goals. You don't. And in fact, again, like I said, it will be very hollow when you get there in like a do, have, be kind of way, because it's actually not your pathway. That is not the path you are meant to follow, because your literal guide to your pathway is your emotional guidance system. Meaning you feel bad about certain things outside of maybe patterns or beliefs that are creating blocks, but you feel naturally bad about certain things for a reason. You feel naturally good about certain things for a reason. The naturally good things is because that is the pathway you're meant to follow. And then we allow our how usually to get in the way, and we go, well, that doesn't seem like a good idea, pros and cons, blah, blah, blah. That's great, and it's just going to lead you astray from where you want to be. When you feel bad about something, it's simply because it's not your pathway. But a lot of people feel bad about something, but this will make me money, this will do this, so they force their way down that path that's not meant for them. And then even if they do earn money or other things going down that path, it's hollow. I had a mentor who said he worked with someone who was worth $700 million, and he was depressed because he wasn't worth $1 billion. So it's not the money. The money isn't what's going to make you happy. Now, when you're happy and you have a DCA that's financial, will you hit it? Absolutely. So you can also do this and experience millions of dollars if that's what you want, six-figure, whatever the thing is for you that is going to be the byproduct of being in that state. But understand, that is not going to be what makes you happy. You're happy, and then those things come in. You're fulfilled, and then the physical has to catch up to that fulfilled state. It takes longer simply because the physical is a denser rate of vibration, but that's it. And then that unknown, and again, let's look at this again. The known is a dense rate of vibration. It's the physical world. The unknown is not a dense rate of vibration. It is the highest form of vibration. It is the fastest form of vibration that you are then drawing into the known. You are focusing long enough on that very fast vibration to the point where you're able to make it go slower and slower and slower and slower, and then come into this narrow bandwidth of frequency that we call the physical. Remember, the physical is not all that there is. In fact, it's a very tiny part of what is. It is a very narrow bandwidth. The known is a very small subset of a much larger superset. And we want to access the superset of the unknown to bring in our dreams and things you want to bring in. So keep in mind, the how is none of your business. That's huge. You want to come from be, do, have. Have a DCA, feel good, and recover if you don't. Take the actions when they come up. You will not, when you're doing this, you should not be sitting, for weeks on end on the couch hoping things will happen. Remember, just to remind you, this is what that is. That's the have, do, be. Have, do, be. I would implore you, I would invite you to stop waiting for someone to do things for you or save you if you're in a have, do, be. Because it's not going to happen. You are the creator. The universe is taking cues from you. What you're thinking, what you're feeling, what state you're in. Whether you're micromanaging it or not by trying to control the how. And the how almost always comes from a state of fear. Almost always from a level of fear because you're afraid you won't get there unless you control things. Or you have to get there, so I need to control things. But all it does is interrupt the process. So avoid this have, do, be of thinking you need to have something first or being in that victim mode. That's the cavalry. I'm waiting for the cavalry. Things need to come to save me. You're a creator. You don't need saving. Also, if you find yourself in the do, have, be, also known as by me, yes, you will get some things. But if you've been doing that and it feels hollow, or you've been doing that and you feel burnt out, then I highly recommend you start upgrading in this way like we have mentioned. So, a lot of stuff to throw at you. I recommend watching this a few times. You can ask some questions in the comments and maybe I'll do follow-up videos or whatever. If you want to ask questions and get answers pretty much right away in coaching with me, check out Mold Your Reality down below. That's my most affordable membership. And I made it affordable so more people can join it and gain benefit from it. If you're looking for more advanced coaching and more working kind of in a one-on-one setting with me, that link is down there below as well if you want to learn some more information and to wire this into the point where you're just doing it automatically and it's just you now. It's a part of your life. You're bringing in all these haves. You're being it. Again, you're like the clients I mentioned who are just having these results come in very quickly. You can check that out below. However, if you want to keep going down the YouTube route, I will link you to this video next, which is going to help you continue the journey and play off of what we learned today. So go check that out or some of the links, and I'll see you in the next one.